Rev up your engines!
Well, Elon Musk may inadvertently end life on Earth. It turns out that all those Starlink satellites they have a bunch of aluminum in them. And when they burn up in the atmosphere, that creates chemicals that destroy the ozone layer. And the ozone keeps the UV rays from killing everything on the planet Earth. Who would have thought that? You know, they've got thousands of those things floating around, and they're always coming down to Earth. When they do, they don't hit us, they burn up in the atmosphere. But when the aluminum burns up, it creates oxides that start to destroy the ozone layer. Satellites around outer space or internet, which is slow as can be, you can get 100 times faster internet locally than his stuff. His stuff's slow as can be. It doesn't go all that fast. It's just that you can theoretically get it anywhere. Now, about 6,000 of the satellites in outer space are Starlink satellites. When their aluminum parts burn up, they create aluminum oxide. Now, Starlink has plans to launch another 42,000 of these things. And the worst thing about these oxides that are created that ruin the ozone layer, get this. The scientists say the oxides aren't consumed by the action, so this effect could last for decades as these particles are floating around in space. They don't weigh much, so they can stay out there a long time once they're created by the aluminum burning up. Now, in 2022, scientists say 18.7 tons of aluminum oxide particles were released into the atmosphere by falling satellites. But now they say it could increase to as much as 397 tons a year instead of 18. It's a lot, right? And the thing is, it costs too much money to put high-altitude satellites, so he has low-orbit satellites, and they generally last only about 5 years, and then they come down, and people thought, oh, they burn up in the atmosphere. Who cares? It isn't going to hit us. Well, if it gets rid of the ozone layer, it'll kill us all. So, hey, Elon may be killing us all after all. He's not saving us with his electric cars and satellites. He may be finishing the planet off. Geez. Well, there's so many things wrong with the Cybertruck to make your head spin, but the funny thing is, they claim it has a 6-foot bed, but the problem is, it's slanted in. It's not an open full bed. So if you have a item that's 6 feet long, you can only get in if it's less than 6 inches tall because it goes down and the inside it's only 6 inches tall. Everything about this thing is a scam. It's not really a truck, it's a toy. The rear bulkhead of the truck's cabin cuts the bed length in the further in you go. Not very good engineering, but you can see the whole thing's just cobbled together. Kind of like that Homer Simpson dream car in the Simpsons that he made this ridiculous thing. It's like he designed the thing. Oh, well, we want a 6-foot bed. Okay, just crunch it down. It's technically 6 feet long, but then it's all crunched in the end, so you can only have things that are 6 inches tall or they'll hit the top of it. So here we go with more nonsense with the Cybertruck, cyber nonsense. It's not a real truck. It's all cobbled together. No real truck guy's going to be driving one of these things. He wants to carry a bunch of stuff. He wants to be able to tow long distances. Those things can't tow long distances. They run out of battery power. People check that out and find out, whoa, the range goes, sure, they can tow a lot, but not for all that far. It has a maximum towing of 11,000 pounds, and it says a range of 318. Then people find out, yeah, it's got a range of about 70 if you tow 10,000 pounds. So, yeah. Don't listen to any of that nonsense. They're not for real truck people. Well, I guess so many people don't like Cybertrucks that they parked them in a parking lot here for storage, and people wrote vandalized signs all over them, rude words and stuff. Now, this is in Fort Lauderdale. It really shows how ridiculous the whole Tesla company is, right? Do they live in the real world? No. Here's what they did. Tesla leased a parking lot and bought a lot of Tesla trucks and put them in. And if you look at the lot, it's a totally open lot. It's not fenced in. It doesn't have a gate, right? If you have objects that you're selling, all car lots that know what they're doing, they got fences, they got dogs, they got guards, they got barbed wire on the top. They don't want people coming in either defacing or stealing the cars. Well, these clowns just think, oh, we can just rent a parking lot, put our cars in there. These people have no common sense. It's the same thing that I keep warning people about with their electric charging stations. Gas stations have attendants, right? It's mainly to keep people from vandalizing the gas station. There's someone watching them. But most of the charging stations for electric cars are in the middle of nowhere, back of a parking lot, and there's nobody there watching them. Some of them have cameras, right? What good is a camera going to do? The guy comes with a mask on and steals all the copper and runs away. You're not going to catch him. You can't have things just sitting there. And in this case, the Tesla dealer put all these cars in an open parking lot with no guards, no fence, no anything. mean, you got to be plain stupid. What society are these people living in? There's criminals out there. You got to try to stop them from stealing things. And if you leave a bunch of cars sitting in a parking lot, no gates, no anything, of course, people are going to come and vandalize them. They happen in Houston all the time. Now, you can't blame a dealership. I saw dealerships in Houston that cars were vandalized at the dealership. But they had gates. They have locks. The thieves came in and they cut the locks, broke in the gates, and vandalized them. But they took due diligence at the dealership. Guy was screaming, "My car was damaged in your parking lot. You're going to pay for it." And so the guy called the police. So the police came and they explained to the customer of the dealership, well, look, they did due diligence. They had a fence, barbed wire. It was locked. They cut the lock, broke in. We can't help it. Your insurance for your own car is going to have to pay for the damage. Just as if you parked your car somewhere and your car's damaged. You have to pay for it with your insurance company because your car was just there. Now, in this case, it was in an enclosed, locked area. If somebody decides to break into that, well, that's just the way it goes. If it had been an open one like this, yeah, then they didn't take any precautions. But it was all locked up. Somebody just broke in and did it. In this case, it shows the stupidity of Tesla, leaving all these cars just sitting out there out in the open. The same thing with the charging stations. Out in the open, they're just asking our kids to come steal the copper and go away with them. You gotta have some kind of security, people. But if you think I'm making it up about Chevy making bad engines, listen to this email. Craig says, Scotty, hello from Fairbanks. I've been a diehard Chevy fan my whole life, but this is painful. I got a 2022 Silverado 6.2 liter that's waiting for a new engine at 23,336 miles. It ticked and just died. I never missed an oil change and never abused it. It's been at the dealer for 6 weeks and they don't have an estimation on a new engine yet. But my payments are still due on time. I've read that many of these engines have failed with under 5,000 miles or so. $120,000 Yukons and Cadillacs included. Thanks, Scotty, for warning us all. Keep the good stuff coming. Yeah, I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. Their quality control at GM is... You imagine, you pay all that money for a vehicle, it's 2 years old, at 23,000 something miles, the engine blows up. You changed the oil, did everything you were supposed to do. Their quality is just garbage. It's been going downhill a long time in GM. Back in the 60s, they made great vehicles. 70s, they started to go downhill, slippery slope. 80s worse. And now they're even lower. So I warn people, don't buy one. Their quality control is garbage. They can talk all they want. They can sell Yukons to people for $100-something thousand. Then the engines blow up. Some of them less than 5,000 miles. Hey, take my advice. Stay away from them if you don't want hassle like this guy has in Alaska. Shell Game says, my brake pedal sinks and I eliminated the obvious causes. Got an 03 Chevy S10. Trying to fix a sinking brake pedal. No lights, no codes, no leaks, no loss of fluid. Replaced the master cylinder. Bled everything. No difference. Brake booster seems to be working fine. Could it be ABS module? It could be the ABS module, but more commonly, it's the booster. You see, it seems to be working fine. On that old thing, it's a very simple test. Open the door, sit in the driver's seat, push on the brake pedal. If you push on the brake pedal and it's hard and it doesn't sink, then take your foot off the brake pedal. Then start the vehicle. Let it idle. Then step on the brake pedal. If now it sinks, that means your booster's bad. The old ones like that were so simple. That's how you test them. If it doesn't sink when the engine's not running, but then when you start the engine, the pedal sinks, that means your booster's bad, assuming you have no leaks. And you said you don't have any leaks. You don't see any leaks. So now the ABS system theoretically can do it too. But if it doesn't sink with the engine turned off, turn the engine on and sinks, that is the booster. You need a new brake booster. You get remanufactured ones. They work perfectly fine. Well, the world is certainly getting ruder, and even the polite, sorry English people, well, now they're getting rude too. A woman takes her car to a repair shop. It was called Perry's Motor Sales in Broadstairs, England. She brought her car in for service. The fiance of this woman decided later he wanted to check the air filter. He takes out the air filter, and what does it say? There it is. You are fat. Fiance obviously was a larger woman, and the mechanics there decided to put you are fat in there. I don't know why they did that. She was really rude to him. They should have put you are rude. Now, that would be a total description, not being nasty or anything. If the person was rude to them, they can write on your air filter, you're a very rude person, okay? But you are fat. Now, what does that have to do with service or anything, right? You don't need to describe personal attributes unless they're being nasty people. You are nasty, you are rude, but you are fat. They shouldn't have stuck that one in, for sure, right? So even the English are getting rude now. The guys at the service place writing you are fat on the air filter. Now, I guess they assume these people are never going to open up the air filter and look at it and read it, right? Well, her fiance did, and now he's mad as can be for them being rude. I kind of wonder, maybe she was rude, but they shouldn't have put "you are fat." They should have put "you are rude." And that was a description. If the person was rude to them, that's kind of one way to get even. You're rude. Maybe she was rude. I don't know. I don't know the whole story. You never get the whole story, but it just shows that basically everyone's rude now, even the English. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.